I'm in France. What the heck is going on here? It's July 4th, and this is the Ezra Levant Show.
Shame on you, you censorious thug.
I'm recording this on Sunday, even though it'll be aired on Tuesday. I have come to France. I'm in the city of Marseille on the Mediterranean coast. Beautiful city. I first fell in love with the city through the Netflix show by the name Marseille, starring Gerard Depardieu. He's a great French actor, but really the star of the show was the city, and I'd never been here until today. I came here not for tourism and not for other happy reasons either. I came here because Marseille is one of the cities that has been rocked by riots in recent days after the killing by police of a 17-year-old Algerian man of Muslim descent. It's unsure whether or not he himself was born in France. There's a terrible video of the encounter he had with police. These days, everything is on video, isn't it? He was driving a Mercedes. It wasn't stolen, but apparently he didn't have the right paperwork for it. He had several encounters with police, in fact, quite a number. He had charges from just a week earlier, and the police accosted him, and they shot him. People across France saw that video, and it was simply proof for so many French people of Muslim descent and North African descent that, in fact, the system was racist, the police especially. Riots broke out in Paris and across France and even in neighboring Belgium. More than 1,300 people have been arrested in those riots. Average age, 17. We're here on Sunday night, the day after that young man was buried. Obviously, the police presence behind me, I don't know if you can quite make them out, but those vans are all police vans. Inside them are riot police. You can see some of them wearing their exoskeletons on their body. They're not yet wearing their helmets, and some of them have guns on their holsters but are not yet holding more serious weapons. So I don't know how the night is going to end. We've actually only been here a few hours, but here's what I've seen. The first thing I've seen is that there are two Frances, or at least in this city, two Marseilles. There's the one you think you know, the beautiful history and architecture, the rich French culture, language, art, architecture, the beautiful port full of yachts, the tourist dream of France. And then you have a different France, and in Marseille it's, I don't know, about 30% of the population. Depends on the neighborhood you're in. It could be 40, 50, or even 60%. Just a few blocks away from the beautiful old port are neighborhoods that are completely immigrant or descended from immigrants, where the language on the street that you hear is not French. It's Arabic or another language that you might not understand. It's a separate kind of France. Now, I spoke with some of these people. I was waiting for the night to fall to see if there would be any dramatic action, and I just went up to some of them on the various cafes. That French tradition of sitting on a cafe outside a coffee shop into summer's evening is a beautiful tradition. Again, in Paris, you may know it as where women come in their high fashion and men go in their fashion, and maybe it's romantic, but and there's some of that here in Marseille, to be sure, right down by the old port. But a couple of blocks away, and as you're starting to get, I'm just looking at some shops right here. You have Babylon Palace. It's Iraqi food. You have Turkish patisseria. So many of these different coffee shops are Tunisian or Algerian or Moroccan or Turkish or whatever. As you get more and more into the Muslim neighborhood, you'll notice a demographic change. Some of these patios will have 30, 40 people sitting out front of them without a single woman there. So on the outward face of it, it may look just like France has always looked. Oh, look at that. People sitting in the gorgeous weather having a coffee and a croissant. But if you look a little bit more carefully, you'll notice that in many of them, there are no women. And those few of them that are more restaurants than than coffee shops. Any women who are there are in abayas. Now, that's not 100% the case. There are still some women, often tourists, who are dressed, I guess, in the eyes of Sharia law, immodestly. But the demographic trend is clear which way the city is going. And I mention that because I've talked to a number of these men, and they use different language, but they said that divide, the racist divide against them, is what motivates their revolt. They use the phrase assassination for how the police treated the 17-year-old man who was killed. And instead of using the word riot, they use the word revolt. And it is a revolt in a way, but it's also quite something when you torch a neighborhood. The neighborhood isn't racist, a building isn't racist, a pharmacy, a grocery store. It has that anarchy feeling to it that the United States had with the series of Black Lives Matter riots in 2016. And these riots have smack of an ethnic divide. It's only Sunday late afternoon. It's not even nightfall yet, so we don't know if the riots are going to continue. But in the rest of today's show, I'm going to show you some of my interviews with these Muslim men. No Muslim woman would speak with me. I don't know if they're allowed to even. Some of them put their best foot forward and said, look, France is not essentially racist. There's pockets of racism everywhere. We all have it in our hearts, but we love France. It's a great place to be. I heard some really refreshing comments like that. But in my absolutely atrocious French, I asked some of them, in your heart, are you an Algerian first or a Frenchman first? And almost all of them said Algerian first. And I said to some of them in my atrocious French, I said, how can you say that the French don't include you on equal terms when you yourself do not identify or express yourself as a Frenchman? If you say you're an Algerian first, how can you then have the same at the same time a complaint that the old stock French don't regard you as true French? There were some interesting comments I heard, and we'll have translations on the screen. But I was having a wonderful time in this wonderful city, and I was enjoying my conversations with people from the Muslim community, when one man came up to us who had spoken very vigorously to us earlier about how he was a Muslim first and a French person second, and he extremely aggressively demanded that we delete the footage. And he was physically putting his hands on our equipment, threatening to call police, even though he said he was worried about police. It was a very spooky situation. We were about 3 blocks away from where I'm standing now, and although there's a ton of police behind me, 3 blocks away there wasn't a cop in sight. And had this man wished to do violence to us, he absolutely could have. Had he shouted something in Arabic that I wouldn't have understood that would have motivated others to come and pummel me, I'm sure he could have. In the end, he did not. But in that moment, I got a feeling for the differences here. There's not a commonality. I was otherized in that moment as they themselves felt they had been othered. There is not a cohesion in France. I'm not the first to say it, but there are 2 Frances. And those are the 2 Frances that have been clashing over the last 5 days. I'll show you different things in today's show. I hope you enjoy it. I came here really with an open mind to follow the facts wherever they lead. And I hope in the days ahead that I'll be able to do that. Stay with us. More ahead. Excusez-moi pour mon français. Mon français est terrible. Merci. De quel pays est-ce que né ici à France ou à autre pays?
Je suis né en France, j'habite dans les quartiers nord et je côtoie beaucoup le centre-ville aussi. Et je suis très très affecté par la situation qu'on a actuellement sur Marseille et en France et par rapport au contexte qu'il y a eu de l'assassinat, qu'on peut tout à fait qualifier d'assassinat.
L'assassinat de Naël?
De Naël, oui.
Est-ce qu'il y a une différence entre Paris et Marseille?
Ben écoutez, apparemment, Marseille se sont réveillés un peu plus tard que Paris. Mais moi qui côtoie pas mal l'environnement sur Marseille, le nord, le sud, en fait, ils ont été beaucoup affectés par cet assassinat. Beaucoup de personnes se sont reconnues à travers cet assassinat dans nos quartiers, dans nos cités. Et, euh, et c'est vrai qu'aujourd'hui, on ne comprend pas pourquoi ces, ces attaques, comment dire ça, cette révolte.
Vous dites révolte, les autres disent émeute. Supportez-vous le révolte?
J'ai compris ce que vous voulez dire. En fait, moi, je ne qualifierais pas ce mouvement comme une émeute, mais plutôt comme une révolte. Et puis, il y a des personnes qui se servent de cette révolte pour endommager les petits magasins qui, eux aussi, souffrent de cette révolte. Mais moi, je qualifie cette révolte parce qu'en réalité, la source, le démarrage de tous ces casses et tout ce mouvement-là, il vient initialement par rapport à une injustice que à Marseille et en France vivent nous, les Français issus de l'étranger. Parce qu'à l'heure d'aujourd'hui, on ne veut pas nous qualifier de Français parce qu'on a des origines maghrébines, on a des origines africaines et la France, à l'heure d'aujourd'hui, ne nous accepte pas en tant que tel et on le voit à travers les inégalités, les discriminations et on va dire aussi les assassinats ou les bavures policières.
Président Macron et les autres politiciens, est-ce qu'ils écoutent les musulmans? Est-ce qu'ils sont les amis des musulmans?
J'ai compris ce que vous voulez dire. Le président Macron, lui, c'est ni. On ne sait pas si réellement il soutient la police ou s'il soutient la maman de Naël et cette injustice qu'a subi cette famille. On ne sait pas. Tout ce qu'on sait, c'est qu'il y a une révolte qui s'est levée et en réalité cette injustice qu'a subi la famille de Naël, c'est plus une sorte de ressenti que chacun de nous a subi, un ressenti d'injustice a subi à travers cette histoire.
Ben, franchement, tout ce qui se passe ici, c'est par rapport à l'État. Tout ça, c'est la faute des policiers, c'est la faute de l'État. Parce qu'il y a ici en France, il y a trop de racisme. Le racisme, il est au premier degré ici en France. C'est tout ce que j'ai à dire. C'est tout.
Pourquoi millions de musulmans immigrés à France si France est raciste?
Eh ben, ils nous ont colonisés 132 ans. Et là, c'est notre tour de venir ici pour comment t'expliquer là, je n'ai pas trouvé les mots. Ils nous ont colonisés 132 ans et maintenant on va les coloniser à vie jusqu'à la mort, jusqu'à la fin des temps. C'est ça.
Est-ce qu'il y a une solution? Comment allons-nous à paix, à victoire, à une solution à justice? How? Comment?
Justice. Ici en France, il n'y aura pas de justice, il n'y a pas de justice, il ne va pas y avoir de justice. Tant qu'ils sont racistes, il n'y aura pas de justice. Tant qu'il y a le racisme, il n'y aura pas de justice. Il faut avoir l'égalité entre les gens. Il faut avoir l'égalité. Il faut respecter les religions. Il faut respecter surtout les musulmans. Parce que les musulmans ne sont pas respectés ici. Ils nous voient comme des terroristes. On n'est pas des terroristes.
Voulez-vous condamner les jeunes musulmans qui révoltent, à violence.
Je condamne personne, chacun est responsable de ses actes. C'est tout. Je condamne personne. Chacun est responsable de ses actes.
Avez-vous un message pour président Macron?
J'ai pas de message pour Macron. J'ai un seul message. C'est que l'islam, c'est une religion de paix. Point barre. C'est bon.
Merci beaucoup pour votre réponse. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What's your name, your first name?
Mohammed, comme le prophète alayhi salatu salam.
Et votre famille a immigré à France.
Ma famille vit en Algérie.
Merci.
Vit en Algérie. Vive l'Algérie.
Dans votre cœur, êtes-vous Algérie ou Français à première?
Vive l'Algérie jusqu'à la mort. Tahia al-Jazair. Tahia al-Jazair, Tahia al-Jazair.
Mais monsieur, si vous nous dites je suis un Français numéro 1, est-ce que vous êtes raciste?
On n'est pas raciste. J'ai dit et je le répète, Tahia al-Jazair, le monde appartient à tout le monde. Chaque être humain peut vivre là où il veut. Il n'y a pas de problème sur ça. On vit là où on veut. La terre appartient au bon Dieu. Et nous, on appartient au bon Dieu. On vit là où on veut. Il n'y a pas de limite. C'est bon. Tahia al-Jazair.
You've given me a lot to think about. Thank you. Okay, good night everybody.
Je parle français. Alors, je vais vous dire quelque chose. Mon fils, il porte le maillot de l'équipe de France. Il est français. Nous, ce qui vient de se passer là, c'est honteux par rapport à la France parce qu'il y a trop de discrimination raciale. Il y a trop de discrimination. Il y a trop, toi tu es noir, toi tu es blanc, toi tu es gris. D'accord? La France, elle était en otage à l'époque avec les Allemands. Donc il n'y avait pas de caserne militaire. Les casernes militaires, ils étaient en Tunisie et en Algérie. C'est un peuple qui a sauvé autrefois la France.
Est-ce que votre fille
Bien sûr, il est français, je suis français.
né à français?
Bien sûr.
Et dans votre cœur, vous êtes...
D'origine tunisienne, bien sûr.
Et votre fille?
Il est français tunisien, il est comme papa. On a des origines comme vous. Vous êtes peut-être anglais, d'origine anglaise. Alors, nous, on n'a pas de haine. On condamne le crime contre l'humanité, que ce soit en Palestine, ou que ce soit en France, ou que ce soit... Il faut faire arrêter l'humiliation. C'est-à-dire vous, tu es gris, tu es ça... Tout le monde a le même cerveau.
Voulez-vous condamner les jeunes tunisiens ou algériens qui émutent?
Bien sûr, bien sûr. Je ne suis pas d'accord. Je veux acheter quelque chose, je vais au magasin, je l'achète. Je ne vole pas. Le vol, c'est pas bon. Il y a des gens qui se lèvent le matin, ils payent les impôts, ils payent les loyers, ils achètent la marchandise pour la revendre. Je ne pense pas que les voleurs... moi, je ne suis pas d'accord avec les voleurs, ni les casseurs d'ailleurs. Il ne faut pas profiter d'un malheur d'un enfant qui est parti pour voler les magasins. Je ne suis pas d'accord. Voilà.
Une autre question, qu'est-ce que votre nom? Comment t'appelles-tu? Comment t'appelles?
Calais, Djabel, pourquoi?
Khalid?
Calais, ouais. Calais.
Oui, merci.
Voilà. Après, voilà, il faut que la France arrête le racisme. Le racisme à la télé, c'est trop. Ils discriminent trop la race musulmane. Ah, la femme voilée, elle aussi, le ça, laissez les gens vivre comme ils veulent. Voilà, c'est tout ce que j'ai à dire.
Merci. Au revoir.
Et vive la Tunisie.
What's your name?
My name is Larbi.
Larbi, thank you. We're from Canada and we're here in Marseille to find out what's going on and to try and understand a little bit better the events of the last few days since the shooting of Nal. Can you share with me your thoughts on it?
Well, what happened just happened. We wish that these guys who are doing manifestation to stop doing what they are doing. What happened just happened again. We don't want to end up with things to go further than this. We are waiting for the justice to say their end and to say something about it and to do the right thing. This is what we wish for. And I think I can't go further than this.
No, fair enough.
This is in brief. Yeah.
I've spoken to some people so far, and they tell me they feel a pervasive racism that it's everywhere. It's in the police. It's in the political system, and they really believe that in their hearts. They feel the pain of racism. Do you think that France is systemically racist? I don't doubt that there are individuals who are racist, but do you think that France as a country is racist?
Look, everywhere in the world, you might find people who might have that feeling that immigrants come to their country and they do stuff and they do things. But I believe that this is a very small group who might have this feeling, and they did what they just have done with that guy. And this is not for everyone. This is only small group of people who have made an influence to the others. Now it went to the media and people start saying that France is racist, and I don't believe this.
What country did your family originally come from?
I'm coming from Dubai, but originally I am Algerian. Yeah.
Can I ask you one more question? And you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I asked it to a couple of guys earlier just to see what they thought. I said, in your heart, do you regard yourself as French first or Algerian first or Muslim first? I got different answers from different people. You don't have to answer that if you don't want, but I think it's an interesting question. What's your name?
Boubacar. Je peux parler en français. Moi. Ouais.
Okay.
Alors, tout le monde sans exception, aime la France pour toutes les valeurs qu'elle représente et pour tout ce qu'elle offre comme opportunité. There is opportunities for all. Mais there is some people in police, dans tous les domaines, there is some people who hate the strangers. But all of us love France. It's not secret. But quand on a des cas comme ça, en fait, vous avez un ressentiment en fait de revanche. Tout le monde veut dire que c'est de la fierté. C'est juste de la fierté mal placée, mais en réalité tout le monde veut. Il faut juste que les autres acceptent qu'on est français aussi. Les autres n'acceptent pas. Il y en a qui n'acceptent pas qu'on se dise français. Et là est le problème. I think, je pense.
Merci beaucoup. Would you like to say anything? What's your name?
My name is Hisham.
And where are you from, your family originally?
Algeria.
And what are your thoughts? I see you're wearing your Etihad.
Je parle en français. Moi, je suis contre la violence. Et je suis contre le racisme, c'est tout. C'est ça.
Merci. Thanks for talking with me, fellas. All the best. My name is Ezra. What's your name?
My name is Isam.
Isam. And where is your family from originally?
Algeria.
Are you yourself from Algeria or are you from France?
From Algeria.
And what do you make of the shooting of Nahal and the riots, the revolt in response?
Calm down, see, calm down. I speak French, but little English.
What do you think about Nahal Marzouk, le jeune
Qui est dead, qui a mouru. Ouais. Pour moi, c'est un accident, mais il faut pas. C'est un accident, mais il faut pas, par exemple, laisser ça passer comme ça, parce que comme ça, toujours il y a des accidents comme ça, toujours il y a des morts,
Ce n'est pas un accident, vous dites?
Parce que la mort, elle arrive pour tout le monde, pour ça, donc elle arrive pour lui. Mais je pense il y a propagande, il y a beaucoup de racisme. Pour nous, les musulmans, les Algériens, en personne, les Algériens, c'est pas les Marocains, c'est pas les Algériens, les Français et les Algériens. C'est une histoire de longtemps.
J'ai une question pour vous. Dans votre cœur, êtes-vous Algérien ou français dans votre cœur?
Moi,
Oui.
bien sûr l'Algérie.
Mais vous, à dire à moi que les autres Français disrespect, are not fair to you, disrespect you, parce que vous n'êtes pas un vrai Français. Mais vous a dit que vous êtes Algérien?
Oui, moi, je suis algérien et ça, c'est mon frère. Et ça, c'est mon frère aussi. On arrive pour vécu on est en France parce que la France, c'est mieux. Bon, par exemple, le côté médical, côté de vivre, beaucoup de choses. Beaucoup de choses. C'est pas comme la Suisse, parce que tu allais dire, moi je vis en Suisse. En Suisse, c'est un peu dur, c'est pas comme la France.
La France est-elle raciste?
Hein?
France. Raciste? Raciste?
Raciste dans quel domaine? Il y a des domaines, il y a beaucoup de domaines. Dans quel domaine raciste?
Pourquoi millions de musulmans d'Algérie, Tunisie, immigrés à France si France est raciste?
Je dis, il y a des racistes, mais il y a des gens normaux, ils acceptent les Algériens, ils aiment les Algériens, ils travaillent avec les Algériens.
Et Algérie?
Hein?
Algérie, les racistes en Algérie aussi?
Oui.
Pardon. Tout le monde.
Il y a un raciste.
Pensez-vous qu'un musulman, dans le futur, est le président de France?
Pour moi, je veux dire une chose, c'est pas question des musulmans, chrétiens, juifs, athées. Pour moi, on est tous des humains. Donc il faut faire le bien et le mal. C'est pas un musulman. Pour moi, comme ça.
Mais est-ce que c'est ce scénario possible? Est-ce que c'est... en Amérique, Barack Obama, le président, Uni Royaume, Rishi Sunak, le premier ministre. France, c'est possible.
Tu vois, le président musulman, tout est possible dans la vie.
C'est possible.
Non.
Pour les Français, voter pour un musulman candidat.
Dans la vie, toute la vie. Tout est possible, mais pour moi, c'est pas possible. C'est impossible. C'est pour moi. Donc, reste avant la vie. C'est impossible.
Absolutely breaking news. It's Ezra Levant here from Rebel News. As you can see behind me, armored personnel carriers have now been deployed into the streets of Marseille. I'm going to turn around so you can see behind me, just 3 blocks down there, is the beautiful old port of Marseille. Tourist hotels, 5-star hotels, gorgeous patios, maybe 500 yachts there. Like, it is touristy, it is rich and commercial. And just up here, you have an enormous police presence that has not been here this week. You can see behind me the 2 armored personnel carriers. They do not appear to be military, but rather police vehicles themselves. And again, I'm just turning around a little bit so you can see there's about a dozen police keeping people back from the vehicles. And as I tilt my camera down a bit, you can see they're wearing some body armor, including what I'm calling exoskeletons on their legs, and some of them have them on their arms. They're not wearing their helmets. They have some batons, and of course they do have some heavy weapons. There's also about a half a dozen police vans like that one. But I've been here for several days, and this is the highest presence there's been in a couple days. Now, I should tell you, let me flip the camera around again. Behind me, you can see all the plywood boarded up windows. Either those windows were smashed or they're protected against being smashed. And I don't know if you can see from here, but they have things on them like Justice pour Nahal, Justice for Nahal. Let's just go over there and take a look, because I can't remember. So there's smashed windows and graffiti all over this town. And again, it's remarkable how close we are. In fact, the hotel we're staying at has a guard posted out because he said they were a threat. So here, let me show you this. Nick, FDP l'État. Nick means the F word. L'État means the state. I don't know what FDP is. ACAB, that's borrowed from the English. Justice pour Nahal, that's Justice for Nahal. Nahal Marzouk, the 17-year-old Muslim who was killed by police at the end of a car chase. They stopped him. And in fact, the shooting was filmed, which sparked the riots. You can see the police chatting with people casually. I don't know if I'd say there's a tension in the air, but those vehicles do not calm things. Maybe they calm down anyone who had big plans, but they're certainly not proof of calm. But as you can see all around me, there's a variety of people. In fact, I'm going to walk over now to where my colleague Efron is. We were just about to have a bite of dinner, and I just went back to the hotel room for a minute, and he said, get back down here. So I'll keep you posted. Hopefully this is just a show of force. Oh, by the way, coming up here is a bunch of police motorcycles. Again, that seems to be new. Do you see that? One, two, three, four, five. Half dozen police motorcycles joining the police armored personnel carriers. I will keep you posted. By the way, all of our updates on our visit to Marseille can be found at franceonfire.com. And if you think this citizen journalism is useful, you can see all of our work at franceonfire.com. And if you want to help chip in to cover the cost, I'd be grateful. Between Efron and I think the cost of our journey here, even though we flew economy class and we're sharing a hotel room, is going to be about $2,800. So if you want to help out, please do. I'll give you updates throughout the night. Hopefully this is just a show of force. You can see there's still, there's mums on the street and there's tourists, and there are obviously idle young men. But I didn't feel tension in the air when I left the dinner place 15 minutes ago. I mean, here's a bunch of young gals going out for some fun. They're just walking by the armored personnel carriers in the heart of their city like it's no big deal. You can see, unlike the British bobbies, these French police pack heat. All right, that's it for franceonfire.com. Some other journalists here, as you can see, very interesting. For Rebel News, it's Ezra Levant. Well, that's our show for today. Until tomorrow, on behalf of rebels everywhere, including here in Marseille, France, to you at home, good night, and keep fighting for freedom.